Hi everybody! Alright, let's get started on this. This is supposed to be dinner, and I was supposed to do this hours ago, and it has just been one of those days. So I'm super excited. I hope that you guys enjoy pot pie as much as I do, and turkey leftovers as much as I do. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. So who here makes like huge Thanksgiving turkey birds? We're a family of what, 6? And I always make like a 20-pound turkey so that I have plenty of turkey leftovers to make all of my favorites. So, all right, got the comments up and going. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Oh, and I totally just pushed the button on my computer. Wrong button. Don't do that. All right, let's see who's here. Becky, Voracious Werewolf, Love the Foxes Before the Song, Flashy Guys, Christian. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's put this down so I can see that too. Ah, there we go. And we're ready to get started. That's not too painful, right? So, good evening, wherever you guys are located. Hope you had a great holiday weekend last week, and let's use up some of those recipes. So, anyway, I make 20-pound bird with the 6 of us. We only eat maybe a third of it the night of, if that. So plenty of leftovers. In fact, just yesterday, I used a bunch of my turkey leftovers to make my creamy turkey and wild rice soup, and I filmed it, and I'll be editing that, and because it's too long to do live, you know, soups just have a lot of simmer and wait and simmer and wait and simmer and wait, and I would have ended up having to make like 20 batches to show you guys all the steps in a fairly decent amount of time. So I filmed it, edited it. I'm trying to get it out by Friday. Fingers crossed. Editing is like the bane of my video existence. I love making the recipes. I love sharing them with you. I hate the video editing so much. All right. Hello. It's so good to see you guys. So, pot pie. Who loves pot pie? I adore pot pie. Of course, I love all comfort food, so that's really not a surprise. But I love creamy dishes and rich dishes and anything with lots of butter and milk and cream, and so that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing that you want to decide on when you're going to make a pot pie is what kind of crust do you want to make. So there's a couple different options. A pretty classic is an American flaky crust where you cut in all of your butter, maybe a little bit of shortening, add a little bit of ice water, and those chunks of butter are going to leave a bunch of, are going to help those flaky layers be there. But it's a little bit more work, but at the end of the day, a flaky crust is just something that I feel belongs with a pot pie. The other option that I'm going to make today and that I like to go with is a Pate Brisee. Now, I have a whole video all about all the different crusts that I make and that I rotate through, so you can go check that out on my channel. I made it last Thanksgiving, so a year ago, but I like to use a Pate Brisee because, one, it doesn't have sugar in it. This is not a sweet crust, so I use it for pretty much all of my savory dishes. Quiche, this pot pie, anything else that's more about the meal and not about being a dessert. And it's super easy to make because you just make it in a food processor. You don't have to have any, like a cutting tool. It's way fast, super easy, can't mess it up. And even though you're really pureeing it and it's a nice pasty dough, it still is really flaky at the end of the day, a nice result for that. So I like to use it for that reason. And it rolls out really easily, and it doesn't matter, like with flaky crusts, you want to roll it out and put it in your pan really nice and smooth. But for this one, if you don't like rolling out crusts, you can also just like break it apart and pat it into place. So the patting technique works for this crust as well. I like crusts that aren't too complicated. I will say for the top of the pot pie, you definitely want to roll it out to get that nice smooth finish. But for the inside of the pie, you can do the patting method. The other option that you want to think about before you make a pot pie is, are you doing 1 crust or 2? Do you like the crust underneath, or are you just going to pour the filling in and only do a crust on top? I've made them both ways. I like both ways, so it just kind of depends on what trouble you want to go through making it. This pie crust recipe we're about to make makes 2 pie crusts, so it's perfect for doing it with 2 crust method, which is what we're going to do right now. So hello you guys. I have thought of opening a bakery, Christian. That is a great question, but bakeries tend to go into work at like 3 a.m. to get all the baking done for the day, and I'm not a morning person, so no. I really just enjoy baking for my family and friends and teaching other people how to bake, something that I love. And thanks. Oh, you found this channel through my eggnog recipe. I hope you made it and enjoyed it and loved it as much as we do. So, all right, crust. Oh, let's switch to another camera. Put that in place. All right, so like I said, I'm using a food processor for this. You could use pastry cutters or knives and cut in all of your ingredients that way if you want as well. So anyway, we're gonna add the flour first. Ooh. And then we're going to add the salt and eyeball it about a teaspoon. You can also, of course, be all smart and stuff and measure your ingredients out, but I don't know, teaspoon I tend to just hand measure. All right, and I'm having trouble focusing my other camera. There we go. Okay, so then we're gonna add the butter. And you want this to be cold butter. So even though I chopped this all up earlier, I kept it in the fridge until now. There we go. And then just a little bit of shortening. Now you can go all butter, but I will say that I like to go with just a touch of shortening in my recipe because I feel like it helps hold it together, but it's still a majority of butter, so you're still really getting that buttery flavor at the end of the day. All right, so let's put the lid back on and get our food processor going. All right, let's open this up so you can see the inside. And you can see this is kind of a crumbly, coarse dough now. A little bit too bright. Let's lighten that up a little bit. There we go. A little bit easier to see now. So it's nice and crumbly. I still can feel little, hey, I'm filming. Shush, shush, shush. Brooklyn. Kids, you think they'd know better. All the lights in the kitchen are, oh, I just got flour everywhere. I think I got it in my eyes. All right, okay, whatever. All right, so now we're gonna add our liquids to this. Whew, there's all flour everywhere. What a dork. Okay, so we have our flour, our salt, our butter, and just a touch of shortening to help hold it all together here, processed in our food processor. So now we're gonna add our liquids. So I have some vinegar that we're adding. And then the next, oh, I still have flour everywhere. The next ingredient that we're gonna add is ice water. Most pie recipes have this, so I just have a cup of water I put a bunch of ice into. I'm gonna pour out, ooh, try not to make too big of a mess. 3 ounces or a quarter of a cup plus 2 tablespoons. Man, a huge mess. Water everywhere. Okay. And now we're gonna add that to the rest of our flour mixture. There we go. So see, like I said, super easy recipe. You don't have to be super careful with everything. How many times do I dye my hair? Christian, that is a great question. I do it about every 6 or 8 weeks. Bakeries are a lot of work. Well, you're right about that. Marianne, hi, it's nice to see you. And my kids, they are cute. All right, so now we're just gonna process this. Oh, now, can you hear that changing? Let's look at what that looks like from the top now, but we're gonna keep going. You don't have to stop just because it's making a noise. You do want to make sure that you have a good food processor before you get started with this. All right, so now you see from the top, we're starting to kind of dough up a little bit, but we still have a lot of dry stuff. That is okay. Put this back on and process a little bit more. Now, see how we're getting that big chunk going around now? That is what we're looking for. All right. That is the sound that we're looking for there. Take the lid off with this nice chunk of dough. Trying to keep everything out of the way and putting it in the sink. So we're gonna plop that out. Now I'm gonna put a little flour and put it on the counter, and then bring the dough onto there as well. Oh, pull that out. And we want to make sure we don't waste anything because dough is delicious. So pull it all out and press it together. And we're going to cut it in half. So to get it like in the middle, I tend to, I don't know, I'm a little OCD about getting the ingredients measurements right. So I tend to try to make a nice even tube and then eyeball it and cut it in half. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to flatten both of these into discs and wrap them and put them in the fridge. Ooh, I definitely did not get that as even as I would have liked. Like I said, the nice thing about this dough is you really can't ruin it. So just take some and this one, press it over into here. All right, now wrap that in some plastic wrap. What you can't see right now is one of my kids sneaking around all my cameras. So if the camera falls over, you know why. Hey, princess. You're just watching? Okay. All right, so plastic wrap and just wrap up the dough in 2 separate discs. And we're just gonna chill it while we make the filling. So you don't have to like get this all fancy schmancy or anything. You just want to get it nice and wrapped so it doesn't dry out. All right, so any questions about the dough? Yeah, I posted a little bit at the beginning, Christian, the food processor, while I was making the dough, just to kind of bring it all together. But I don't like, at one point you do want to just hold it down, keep it going until it gets nice and smooth. You can't just pulse it the whole time you get the results, but to get it started, I tend to do that so that I don't get like that chunk of liquid that we just poured in to like get too hard. So the pulsing kind of breaks it all up, and then you want to mix it into the dough itself. Any other questions about dough? Oh, Aubrey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, refrigerator. And really quickly before I start the filling, I forgot to put this in the oven. So we're going to do that right now so we have a finished result. This is the one I made earlier today. Ooh. I meant to put that in before we started. All right. Now clean up your work surface always. Hey, baby girl, can you go get your big sister and ask her to get that white pie pan up on that top shelf for me? I forgot to get it down before I started. Okay. All right. Now for the filling, we're gonna cook it. So obviously you would normally use your stove top, and I'm, for lighting purposes, using my stove that can be moved. All right, plugging it in. And then you want to start with a big pan. You want something that's like 2.5 to 3 quarts or bigger. Anything smaller, you're going to have a hard time fitting it in and stirring it. So let's get started with that. Trying to get everything out of the way that I don't need. And, hey, yeah, Brooklyn, that one white right up there, underneath the green bowl. Okay. So we're going to start by adding some butter. Oh. And turning that on to like medium high. Yes, Grace, I am doing a bottom crust and a top crust, but you don't have to. Bridget, yes, you can make the dough without a food processor. You can either use like pastry cutters like normal, or you can even just use a hand mixer. That's a great question. All right, so we're letting that start to melt a little bit. Barbara, oh, that's such a sweet compliment. I'm glad that you think that I make it look easy. You know, one of my things is that a lot of times people tell me, oh, I don't want to cook from scratch because it's so hard. And my answer is always like, I don't feel like cooking or baking is hard. I feel like it's time consuming, but it's not hard. Nothing's truly hard. Sometimes you're just missing the right tips or tricks. So my goal with this channel and sharing recipes is hopefully, and I'm totally self-taught, is hopefully to just share the tips and tricks that I've learned along the pathway that will hopefully make you want to cook from scratch too, because it tastes way better and it's really not that much harder at the end of the day. So fingers crossed that that's coming across. But thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate that. And Adrian, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so veggies. So I'm using onions, mushrooms, carrots, potatoes, and peas. But the best part about cooking from scratch and making things at home is that you can totally make the filling however you want. You can add as many veggies as you want, whatever types of veggies you want. If you, like, for say, don't like onions, which is crazy because onions are amazing. But if you didn't like onions, you wouldn't have to use them. If you don't like carrots, you don't have to use them. If you like celery, which I don't, so I don't use celery, you can totally add celery instead. At the end of the day, we're using like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like about 6 cups of veggies. So just fill in with 6 cups of whatever veggies that you like. So that's my tip for filling. So our butter is starting to melt, so we're going to add the onions, get them all, and the carrots. And you can see that I like to chop things pretty small. The other thing that I like is that perfect bite, and so I like things diced a little bit more so that I can get a little bit of onion and carrots and mushrooms all in the same bite. But if you like things big and chunky, go for it. Just make sure that they're cooked almost all the way through before you get them in the oven. All right, now mushrooms and potatoes. Now you'll notice that there's no peas in here right now. That's because I add frozen peas and I add them at the very end, because peas are easy to crush, and if you add them too early and then as you're stirring, they can totally see you. She like crouched down behind and tried to come up and over. Yes, you can have some turkey, but just one piece, because that's for this.
I'll choose a big piece.
No. The one you touched is the one you eat. That's it. Totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, no. Peas will get crushed as you're stirring and as they get warm, so I add them at the very end because they heat and cook so fast. Right, so now we're going to stir this and start cooking it. And we want to cook these veggies until the onions are translucent and the potatoes are like cooked through that outside edge of the potatoes. The potatoes don't have to be fully cooked because one, we're going to continue to cook after this veggie part. We're going to add a bunch of other ingredients to this, make the sauce and stuff like that. But also because this is going to be baked and they'll continue cooking as they bake, of course. There we go. Oh, this starts to smell so good. You notice I also didn't use very much butter. You don't necessarily need a lot in this, but also because I added mushrooms. Mushrooms, as they cook, release liquid, and so this will get a little bit more liquidy with the mushrooms. If you're not going to use mushrooms and you find as you're cooking and stirring this that it feels a little dry, you can go ahead and add a little bit of extra butter or olive oil or something like that to help it. You just don't want the veggies to stick, of course. So yeah, just keep stirring. It's going to take us just a couple minutes to get this going. So now is a great time to answer some questions. Jenna, I'm so sorry that you can't tell what I'm saying. There is sound, right? And yeah, live streams don't have captions, but I will caption this later. So hopefully the rest of you guys can hear me. Nobody else has said they can't hear anything, so fingers crossed. Kiara, nice hair. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm growing it out. No, I'm growing it out and it's kind of annoying me, but thanks. I appreciate it. Do I actually read the live chat? Yes, Jenna, I do. You like my makeup? Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah. Hey, lovers of sunflowers. It's nice to see you. Glad you could be here. Oh, how many potatoes did I use? Christian, all of the recipe is in the description box. If you click show more, you'll see the full thing. But I used 1 medium onion, which is about 2 cups. I did 1 cup of mushrooms, 1 cup of carrots, and then 2 cups of potatoes. Okay, I'm glad you can hear, Jen. Thanks. It is really good, Donna. Okay. Oh, Linda, it's so worth making. I hope that you enjoy it as much as we do. This is one of those dishes that the reason I make a big turkey is just so I can have this. There's never enough turkey leftovers to make all of the dishes that I like to make, so I always make a pretty big turkey. I'm always disappointed when we eat too much of it because I love the leftovers so much. In fact, I'm down to like, I don't know, after we make this, I'm down to like 2 cups of turkey. So, sad. But thankfully I'm making another one for Christmas, right? So, I'm a Christmas turkey gal. What about the rest of you? Are you guys ham for Christmas or something entirely different for Christmas? Let me hear it. Adrian, yes, the recipe will be on my site. I ran out of time to get on my site before I started the chat, but it will be up tonight before I go to bed. Of course, I go to bed at like 2 a.m., so it will be up as soon as I can get it up. But it also is in the description box over on my YouTube channel over there. I wrote it up really fast before I got started. But yeah, so you don't have to hurry and write it down. It will be up, ashleemarie.com first thing. Kimber! Oh, Kimber! I haven't seen you in forever! Hi! Yes, turkey for Christmas too. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Okay, this is looking good. I'm going to transfer over so you guys can see it. There we go. It's kind of spilling everywhere because I'm trying to read and stir at the same time, getting onions all over the place. So as you can see, oh, this smells so good. So you can see the onions are getting cooked really well. Let's transfer over to this one. I can get a little closer. There we go. So the onions are translucent now. They're cooked really well. And I don't know if you can see the potatoes, but they get kind of like, here's a good example. Whoop, stay on the spoon. They get kind of like that ring around them where they're starting to cook. So this is looking just how we want it to. And there's still some liquid in there. That's from notice it's more liquidy than if it was just butter. That's from those mushrooms making that liquid. See all that? So it's still not a ton, but it's right where we want them. So now we're going to move on with the recipe. And we're going to add, oops, sorry, really loud. We're going to add flour. This is 1/3 of a cup. We're also going to add our flavorings right now. So here's some salt, about a teaspoon of salt, and some pepper, about 1/4 of a teaspoon, or more, if you guys like more. And then give that a stir. So this is going to be our thickening agent for the pot pie. You could also add a little cornstarch if you like, but I've never found the need for that. Because I'm not adding any cheeses, I feel like it doesn't need the cornstarch, but you can always sub out some of the flour for cornstarch if you've had better results with that in the past. So see how now it's getting like kind of thick? All right. The one thing that we don't want is little chunks of flour still everywhere. So keep stirring until there's no flour left, or no like visible white chunks of flour. Because there is kind of a taste that flour has, and you want to cook out that flour taste, and that's what we're doing now. You also want to make sure, especially if you're using stainless steel, that you're keeping the bottom scraped so it doesn't get burnt to the bottom. I know that all the professional chefs love stainless steel, and I use it because I feel like it looks better in video because it's easier to see than a black pan, but man, I've never had so many issues with burning to the bottom with stainless steel as I did with non-stick. So I don't know. I'm still figuring out stainless steel. If anybody has any great tips for not burning things at the bottom of stainless steel pans, please let me know. I grew up with the non-stick, and that's just what I'm used to. But all my non-sticks pan now like have little flaky non-stick stuff in them, so I don't like using that either. So I switched to stainless steel. I'm just still struggling a little bit. Okay. So you want to cook that until, like I said, the floury whiteness is all gone. It'll start getting a little bit tan, and it'll take about a minute, 2 minutes. For me with the stainless steel, once I see, here I'll show you, once I see it starting to like stick to the bottom, see how I'm getting like kind of like that layer and scrape off, I'm actually going to switch to a metal spoon. It's gonna be a little loud, but I just want to keep scraping all that off before it burns because all that stuff is flavor and goodness. Anyway, and now we're going to add the turkey stock. So this is my homemade turkey stock that I just made from the same turkey that this turkey pot pie is being made from. So add that and give it a nice stir, and that will help. Get all of that kind of thickness, that floury pasty thickness is at the bottom of the pan. The broth, as you stir, will help get that up and off and back into the sauce. So I want to stir quickly. I know it's loud, that metal on metal, but the wooden spoon doesn't quite get that stuff up enough. All right. Ooh, prime ribs for Christmas. Bridget, that sounds nice. I'll come over. Chicken tacos. You know what? I have made chicken tacos and I love them. Lover of sunflowers, does ham. Christian, burritos for Christmas, or you just want me to make burritos? Because not quite, if you're answering my question or if you're just asking for me to make something in the future. Chicken tacos, chicken burritos, on the list. Sounds good. Kimber, you love stainless steel. I feel like you're right. That I think it's my stove because I'm not using gas here because my stove's awful. I'm looking for a gas electric stove. Anybody has any suggestions? My favorite brand, let me know. But I feel like if I was using a better cooktop, I feel like I'd probably have better luck with my stainless steel. So thanks for Kimber, that's a great suggestion. Cast iron, oh Patty, I do love cast iron. And I was gonna use cast iron for this, but my cast iron pan is filled with a brownie right now. And I haven't finished eating it. So stainless steel it is. Oh.
Where is it?
It's over there on the table filled with brownies. What are you getting, buddy? Please don't get in my video when you're half naked, okay? Nobody wants to see that.
I'm looking for a little bagel.
You want a bagel? The bagels are all gone. Can I fit it? We're gonna have dinner in like 20 minutes, okay? So go play with your brother, okay? All right, let's check out what this looks like now. So see how that's getting nice and thick. Now we're gonna add some heavy whipping cream to this. And that's gonna give us that nice creaminess to the filling that we're looking for. Yeah, Julie, right now I have a glass top, but I just still don't love it. I miss gas. Gas is by far my favorite way to cook. And I miss it desperately. Oh, hi America! So far we have made the pie crust and it's resting in the refrigerator, and now we are making the filling. So we have all the veggies in and starting to cook, and now we have just added our liquids, and we're gonna cook this down until it's nice and thick, and it'll take about 3 minutes. Yes, sweetheart.
Can I have one of the cookies?
Yes, you can have a cookie. Just shush. Oh, you already started eating the cookie? Okay, you want to come say hi to everybody? All right, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, go play. All right, so this is going to cook away and get a little bit darker in color and thicken up quite a bit more. Now, a lot of people are tempted to add this to their pie crust just like this because let's face it, it does look really thick. But at the end of the day, it's still too runny to be a good pot pie. I mean, it would taste just fine, and but when you baked it and cooked it, when you would take the slice out of the pot pie at this point, it would just be a runny mess. Delicious, but a runny mess. So you definitely want to keep cooking this until it's thickened a lot more. So now is another good time to answer some questions. So none of this is hard, like I said. Just a little time consuming, but it's really worth it in my opinion. All right, Robin, so cute. He is a cutie, isn't he? He's the youngest and spoiled rotten, and he knows how to work it and get what he wants, especially when I'm trying to focus on this. Of course you can have a cookie right before dinner, right? Just leave. Lover of sunflowers, yes. Thank you. I'm so glad you think it looks good. It's hard to go wrong with a pot pie. Obviously, this recipe would also work just fine with the chicken pot pie the rest of the year. There's just something about turkey pot pie that I love. All right, here's a question for you guys. Are you white meat or dark meats fans? I usually use all dark meat in this recipe, but because my entire family has become dark meat lovers, I didn't have a lot left. So we're going with half dark meat and half white meat in this pot pie today. So, ooh, this is a 2.5 quart pan and I'm already spilling carrots all over the place. So you just want to make sure it's big enough to be able to stir this and work with it. So 2.5 to 3 quart pan for sure. I have like carrots all down this side. Probably gonna end up with carrots all over me by the end. All right. Oh, what's in the turkey stock? I actually have a recipe on my site, and I think I made a video on the channel, but I'm not 100% sure, where I make my own turkey stock. You take your turkey carcass and you add it to a big, huge pot that can fit it. Break your turkey carcass in half if you need to. And then you add all sorts of veggies, bay leaves, thyme, onions, shallots, garlic, celery, and add it to it, fill it up with water, boil it for 4 hours, simmer it, then let it cool and scrape off the fat and drain it, and you got your own turkey stock. Salt and pepper too. I love making my own turkey stock. This last turkey only made like 15 cups of turkey stock. And it's probably one of my best batches yet because I let it simmer a little bit extra long, so it got a little bit thicker. And I've already used everything. I have a half a cup left because I use it in so many recipes. Hey Ninja, how you doing? Oh, I was featured on YouTube Trending. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's really exciting. Aubrey made my maple bacon cheesecake and it was amazing. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And she's gonna make a maple bourbon bacon pecan pie. All right, that sounds like a really good mixture. Christian, lovers of sunflowers, they're both dark meat fans. Yes, love it. Barbara, no smell-o-vision, I know, right? It smells really good. You'll have to take my word for it. Patty, hi. Yes, it is really yummy. Definitely one to try to make yourself at home. Oh, Brianna, that's so sweet. Thank you. Julie, cookies, right? Yes, you can totally have cookies right now. Just let me do my thing. Let me make a very healthy dinner for you and eat all the cookies you want while I'm making it, right? The things that we do so we can have a little bit of time in the kitchen. But cooking is my happy place, so yeah. He knows, like, if I'm working on something boring, not to ask me for a cookie, but yeah, totally. If I'm in the middle of doing something that I enjoy, like cooking or cake decorating, it's a good time to ask me for whatever he wants to do that will keep him occupied. All right, I'm going to show you this now. All right, so you can see it's a lot thicker, and it's still bubbling away, but it's still not quite thick enough. We want to cut this liquid down, probably by about another third. So I'm just going to keep stirring away and keep letting it simmer. One of the reasons that you want to continue to stir while you're simmering is it actually helps get rid of more steam, which helps give you more surface for the liquid to evaporate. So in this case, it actually helps it go faster. Obviously, stirring boiling water doesn't really do any good, but in something like this where you're you're moving it around and you're letting the pan become fresh again, and helps it go faster and get thicker faster because losing a lot more steam. I don't know if you can see all that. A lot of steam. Have I made a cookies and cream cake? Not on my channel or my blog, but in real life, yes, I have. Looks so good. Oh, Justin, thank you so much. Okay. This is looking and smelling amazing. We're about to add our final couple ingredients. So notice I haven't added, like we mentioned earlier, I haven't added the frozen peas yet, again, because all of this stirring and boiling and simmering would make the peas go mushy. There's nothing, whoa, mushy peas. And then the turkey. Now, because the turkey's already cooked, it doesn't need to be cooked again. So I'm gonna add the peas and the turkey once I'm happy with the thickness of the sauce, and then they'll both, and then we'll put it in the pie, and then it will cook and heat up in the oven. So you don't need to cook the turkey in this. In fact, if anything, overboiling the meat isn't really a great option. I don't know about you, but boiled meat, not really my thing. So it's already cooked. We're just going to add it at the end, stir it in, and then add it to everything else going on. So obviously I already made this earlier today so that I would have a finished one. to show you guys, and I do not remember making this big of a mess before. I don't know if you can see it. My camera is wide enough. Look at this whole, like, just carrots everywhere right here. Tell me that I'm not the only messy chef out there. All right. Is there any other questions while I'm doing this? Coconut cake, yes. I do have a great recipe for coconut cake I'm really happy with, but again, not on my, I don't have it on my blog or my site. Christina, yes, we already thickened it earlier. We made the roux at the beginning with the veggies. We added the butter and all the veggies and cooked them, and then added the flour to thicken it and turn it into the roux, and then we added the liquids, and yeah, now it just takes a little bit more cooking to get all those liquids to mix in with it and thicken down. This is looking, we're almost done, you guys. Looking great. Okay. Delete that comment. Gotta love negativity, right? All right. Let's show this to you guys. Oop. Switch cameras. There we go. All right. We see how this color is now darker too. It was so white and light before, and now it's this nice, beautiful golden color. Check this out. Look how good that looks. All the mushrooms and salt and pepper and veggies. Looks amazing. So we are ready to add the frozen peas and all the turkey. Turn the heat off, and I'm gonna stir these in. There we go. And now we have our filling finished. Ooh, nummy, nummy, nummy. So good. All right. So I'm gonna put this back over here on my counter and get our pie crust ready to go right after I wipe out my mess. All right, so not hard, right? Super easy. There we go. And get our dough out of the fridge. Okay, doughs are ready to go. Now the doughs can obviously be made way ahead of time. They can be refrigerated for a couple of days, or they can be frozen for a couple of weeks. But you just definitely don't want them frozen when you try to roll them out, so put them back in the refrigerator for a couple hours or a day before you try to roll it out. So, all right, I'm gonna use my good old pie bag that always gets a lot of questions. So if anybody doesn't know what a pie bag is, let me know and I will tell you. So we have pie bag. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour in it, put our dough on, and put a little bit more flour. Zip it up and start rolling out. And this is our bottom crust, so we want this to be bigger than the pie pan. I'm using a 9-inch pie pan. So this is more of a wetter dough, so it kind of does start to stick to the bag after a while. So I just keep adding flour, brushing away the excess, because you want to keep the crust kind of loose in the bag so that it doesn't get too stuck. So brushing this. If you're not making a mess in the kitchen, you're doing something wrong. Julie, I totally agree with that. My kitchen is always a mess. You're only seeing the clean portion, like from there to there. So yeah, so just keep rolling out. And as it starts to stick to the bag again, I just do what I did before. Unzip, add a little bit more flour, flip over, and a little bit more. Robin pie bag. It's amazing. I got this as a wedding present and I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Because I hadn't tried it yet and I didn't know, and now I know better, and this pie bag gets used so much. I feel it's actually gotten better with age. All right, this is almost wide enough. Because we want this to hang over the edges, we do want to go as close to the edge as we can get. So one more round of flour and turning it out. Now notice I don't just sprinkle flour on and leave it in chunks. I kind of brush away the excess, and that way I can also feel if there's one spot of the dough that's maybe still a little sticky that I can add a little bit of extra flour to. Try to keep it as round as possible, of course. Notice I don't even bother zipping it up sometimes. Okay, there we go. We are ready. So, pie pan, pick up your pie, put your hand right in the middle of it, and put your hand right in the middle of your crust. Flip it over and peel away the pie bag. And then kind of adjust as you need to. Try to keep it, there we go. Now we want this to hang over because we're going to have to add our other pie crust to it. So if there's an area where it's not hanging over, kind of try to pull and stretch. And try to make sure there's no air bubbles down there either. All right, I got a nice big air bubble right there. Let's try to get that out. And over here too, I can feel it. Now we don't want to poke holes in the bottom of this, and the reason for that is if you poke a bunch of holes in the bottom of this pie crust, the sauce will kind of leak down underneath, and that'll create a mess. So there will be a little bit of bubbling in your pie crust. Obviously, it's always best to poke holes in a crust if you can, especially blind baking, but because we're filling it, it'll mostly be okay. But you do want to feel along the bottom and make sure you don't have if you can avoid having a hidden bubble underneath there, so much the better for sure. So I am happy with that. Now we're gonna add our filling. If I can show you the right camera. There we go. All right. Just scoop and plop. And now every once in a while, I'll have a little bit of extra filling. Usually it fits right in the pie crust, but if maybe I added a little bit too much turkey, or maybe I eyeballed my potatoes too much, or whatever, then I'll just take the excess and I'll just eat it because it's already cooked, and it tastes amazing. So I have been known to make a big batch on purpose just so I can eat a little bit out of it while I'm waiting for the pie to cook. Oh man, that's such a loud noise. Metal on metal. Ugh. It's like not as bad as chalk on a chalkboard, but certainly not pleasant. All right, let's take a look at that. And you want to keep it away from the edge because we're going to add our other second crust on top. It's okay if it kind of domes a little bit. So there we go, nice and thick and amazing. Get all the extra out because you don't want to lose anything. And now we're going to roll out our second dough. So put the pie off to the side, get out our pie bag again, and repeat. All right, so are there any questions? Love the double crust pot pie. Amanda, I agree. Although if I already have a crust in the fridge and I only have one, then I'll just do it one crust style, but I love it if I can. Lover of sunflowers, yes. The pie bag is super handy and it totally keeps your counters clean. The other thing that I like about it is that I can rotate and move the bag where you don't have to pick up the dough and rotate it. So I feel like I get a more even rolling out when I can rotate. I'm a big rotator on pie crusts. Sounds weird, rotator. Anyway. All right, so let's do this again. Kimber, you don't have a pie bag? It's awesome. I love my pie bag. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
What is it?
Not anything.
Oh, and I'm out of focus. There we go. No, out of focus again. I think it's struggling to focus on my pie bag.
Is Glinda the black cat?
No, Glinda's the white cat. Elphaba's the black cat.
Well, I'm
Okay.
looking at the
Oh,
black
and
cat.
you weren't even looking at the top one, so what does it matter? There we go. Now we have it rotated.
I'll just look at the black cat.
Okay, shh, I'm videoing. Oh my word. So by being able to rotate the bag, I feel like I get a much more even pie crust. Okay. Oh, Ernest, it's nice to see you. I think that you need another cake from me. Just saying. Julie, do you ever make without potatoes? Yes, I talked about that at the very beginning of the video. The best part about making it yourself is you can add whatever veggies you want. You want to keep it about the same amount of cups of veggies. So I use 8. Kimber, this is a 12-inch pie bag. I wish I had the 14-inch. The 14, well, I don't know. I've had it for so long, I'm not sure. It's decent size, but that's a 9-inch pie pan that I just put that crust into. So I don't know. Maybe I want a 16. Maybe this is a 14. Good question. I should definitely check that. Julie, it almost looks like I'm cheating. I know, right? The pie bag is totally amazing. I always gets a ton of comments. I'll go in later to the chat and I'll add an Amazon link to it. There's a ton of different options over there. Because I have 5 kids, so I don't like to shop. So go out to shop. So if it's not on Amazon, I don't get it. So that's the thing. Josh, hi! Smiley face, emoji, emoji, emoji. It's nice to see you. Christian, has this ever failed? The video chat? Yes. Live videos fail all the time. They're super annoying. The recipe though? No. The only time I've failed with recipes like this, I would say, is when I rush it. When I cut corners, I'm like, oh, it's not as thick, but it'll thicken up more in the sauce. So I cook it for 5 minutes less or something like that. I mean, it's still delicious though, so does that count as a fail? I don't know. Fail. I tend to, yeah, it's pretty much when I'm like, oh, I messed that up, but oh well, I'm not going to take the time to fix it. I'm just going to move ahead. That's usually when it ends up failing. If I just stop and take the time to fix it, then it usually works out. Kimber added a link to the pie bag, everybody, over in the Facebook chat. The one on Amazon's 14 inches. Barbara, mine probably is 14 inches now that I look at it. I don't know. Yes, love Amazon too, right? Your son is 1 and sitting watching me. Oh, hi, son. America, my kids don't even watch me, so that's really fun that yours does. YouTube is recommending me. Dude, that's awesome. All right, so take your pie bag and fold it in half. Now I'm going to try to switch cameras and views. Oh, I do this without messing everything up. This is where it's going to fail right here, Josh. Okay. So put my pie back in place for you. All right, so holding this, fold it in half. I'm going to match it up right there. Place it on top, flip it over, and voila! There we go. Kind of adjust if you need to, and to kind of avoid bubbles. Ooh, the final one's done. I think. All right, sorry about that. It needed a couple more minutes, so by the time we're done with this, that will be ready. I'm so excited, it smells so good. I love it when my house smells good. Okay, so pie crust. So we have these 2 layers of the pie crust, and we want to seal them together. So the first thing that I do with my top crust is I kind of go in and make sure that it's touching all that filling, so there's not like a big gap of air bubble anywhere. There we go. And that will kind of help it shrink and fit inside our first pie crust. And then we're going to just start going around and folding it in once. So I'm just kind of pinching and folding, pinching and folding, pinching and folding all the way around. What you don't want to do is with your fingernails is accidentally pinch through and poke a hole in your crust, so watch out for that. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do it, it's just not as pretty. And as long as you're taking the time to make good food, might as well make it pretty. All right, so now we've gone all the way around. I kind of compress any areas where it's not maybe quite even. And then you can decorate it however you want. You can use fork tines around, or I'm all about just the pinch. It's easy to do, hard to mess up. All right. I don't know. I'm not super creative when it comes to my pie crust edges. I always love pretty pie crusts, but then when I'm making it, it's always like, okay, this is easy. If anybody has a favorite like crust edge way, let me know, and I will. I'll try it out. All right, so we're even all the way around now. Not quite ready to go though. What we want to do is put a wash on top to help get the crust nice and golden. So I'm going to take I'm going to take an egg and crack it. Don't get any shell in there, of course. And I'm going to take like a tablespoon of cream. And don't you love how I'm so accurate at measuring? Tablespoon of cream. I'm going to, all my hands are messy now. It's hard to switch your cameras when your hands are all messy. All right, use a fork and whisk that really good together. Now you can just do an egg wash if you want. The other thing I like to do with my washes is add a little bit of salt. But you can just use eggs if you want. I like the cream. I feel like it gives it a better crust, but hey, that's just me. Ahaha, you don't even cook and you like my channel? Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Amanda, beautiful crust. Mine doesn't look that pretty, but they taste good. At the end of the day, let's face it, I love pretty food, but taste is important. One. Oh, kisses from America. Okay, what am I looking for? Pastry brush, pastry brush. Pastry brush. Okay. So then you want to take a pastry brush and brush all over the top of your top crust. You can also do the edges if you want, or you can skip them. It's kind of up to you. And there we go. All right. So I'm going to go around and do the outer edge now. Make sure that you're kind of being gentle, otherwise you'll destroy the crust that you just made. Let's see. Oh, Jen, you made my cheesecake the other day and it was great. Oh, I'm so happy. I hope all the tips really helped. Just like I mentioned it earlier in this video, and I'll mention it again, my thing with food and cooking is that I don't think cooking's hard, maybe a little time consuming, but it's all about the right tips and tricks to get the end result that you want. All right, so now we want to vent this. So I usually take a nice sharp knife, and I usually do like 5 cuts in here. Like that. So we have a nice vented, and it's ready to go in the oven. All right, how does that look? Nice and shiny and beautiful. All right, put this aside. Wipe down the counter again. And check on our first pie. Okay. A little clean. All right, hot pad holders. It's one of those things. I don't know about you guys. I can never find my hot pad holders. Oh, I'm always like, oh, put them right here, and then I, won't forget where they are, and then I always forget where they are. Okay. Trivet. And I'm going to put the camera off to the top so you can see it as I put it into frame. All right, so it's going to be boring for just a moment. All right, can't get that closed. I think the crust is done, but I wish it was a little bit more golden. I moved my rack to the bottom. Hold on. And I feel like it didn't cook as evenly. Check the bottom. I prefer using glass pie pans so I can check the bottom and make sure it's cooked down there. All right, I'm gonna put this in on a higher rack really fast for like 2 more minutes. Oop, no, I lost my hot pads. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have a couple minutes to answer questions and then we'll pull that out. For sure it will be done. Rebecca, you like the way it looks? Beautiful and yummy. Thank you very much. I just want to get a little bit more of a golden crust on there. Looks delicious. Thank you, Amanda. Is there anything I don't like to make, Marika? That's a great question. You don't like cheesecake, but you can make it. Something I don't like to make. Healthy food. I don't like to make salads because I really don't like raw vegetables. I like things that I don't like things that are light or that are fad diet based. I'm really just about full fat, full flavor. Yeah, sugary, buttery, creamy. Patty, awesome. Barbara, at what point did you freeze it? That is a great question, Barbara. I would actually freeze it before you put it in the oven. At the point that our other one is first, I would not though put the egg wash on it. Once you get that pie crust done, I would wrap it up in plastic wrap and put it in the freezer. And then when I pulled it out, I would let it thaw. Once it was thawed, then I would add the egg wash to it. I would even I'd probably do the venting before I froze it as well, so that you don't mess with that with the crust. One thing that you want to do is I'd let it thaw while it's still wrapped up, so any condensation as it thaws is going to come off as you unwrap the plastic. If you unwrap it and then let it thaw, things tend to get gummy, especially pastries, so I'd avoid that. So that's a great question, Barbara. All right, let's see if I missed any other questions. What's my favorite dessert? Cake. No, really, my flourless chocolate cake, or my lemon sour cream pie, or my cinnamon chocolate chip cake is a really good one too. I also really love brownies. It kind of depends on what I'm craving at the moment. Sometimes I'm craving salty sweet. I love those new thin pretzels covered in dark chocolate, frozen. So good. But sometimes I'm craving like crunchy sweet, so then I like crunchier cookies that are super sweet. So kind of depends. But my flourless chocolate cake is probably my number one go-to. For savory foods, maybe my Alfredo would be my favorite. I really like making that. All right, let's see, any other questions? Do I make sandwich bread? You've been making bread and you like my recipes. Thank you so much, Amanda. And you're looking for a good bread recipe. You made the crescents on Thanksgiving and they turned out great. Yay, I'm so glad they were a hit. A good sandwich bread. You know what? I used to have one. I used to make bread all the time and then I quit. So I will have to dust off that recipe and check and see if I still like it and work on it. That's a great suggestion. Thank you so much. How much time do I have for myself? Well, I'm a single mom with 5 kids, so don't have a lot of time to myself ever. Except, you know, when they're with their dad on every other weekend. You bought a dress on Amazon today, right? Amazon has everything. There's no need to go to a store anymore as long as you know your size. All right, I think I caught up on those questions, and I made the mistake of scrolling too far. Yes, I will. So Amanda, I will dust out that old bread recipe and I will find it and play with it. Jen, you just got into baking and cooking and you want to say thank you so much. Your channel's helped me a ton. Jen, thank you so much. I'm so happy about that. My whole goal with doing this channel and doing my blog is to hopefully help people feel more confident in the kitchen and feel like it's not too hard, because I don't know, kitchen's my happy place, right? And there's not much better than sharing good food with people. So I love that. Reeds Morris, am I really live right now? I really am live right now. And I just said your name, so now you know I'm live right now. All right, hopefully I didn't miss too many questions. If I did, just ask it again, especially on YouTube, because the questions all disappear after the live is over, which is super annoying, YouTube. So just ask it again real fast, and maybe, hopefully I'll be able to see it again so I don't miss it. And that's 1 minute away. Do you hear that beep? My oven just gave me the 1 minute away. So pie, 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 pie. I'm so excited. And now, how much do you love your fans? Well, I love my fans a lot. Oh, we just lost one of the cameras. This one got too hot. We're hitting that point with the videos where the cameras start to get too warm and start turning off. So fingers crossed we don't lose the top shot or this shot, because we just lost the live. Ooh, the side, I mean. That's what happens with live videos, right? Put the fan on it, see if that helps. Read. We talk from time to time, always looking at your stuff. Oh, thank you so much. I love hearing that. Amanda, you're the best at teaching, explaining. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Okay, fingers crossed. All right. Whew, I put it up higher. That is really hot. Oh, that looks so good. Ah, hot. Okay. Lost a hot pad holder. You guys think I need a new hot pad holder? I accidentally put it on the stove. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the bottom. Very good. But the bottom's nice and golden. And look at the top. Look at how golden and pretty that is. Now I made this earlier today, and then I glazed it, and then I put plastic wrap on it. So that's that weird ring that I'm seeing. I should have refrigerated it and waited to add the glaze till after I took the plastic wrap off, because the plastic wrap kind of stuck to it. So, oh well. Super silly. Time to get a knife and a plate, because I'm hungry. Plate. And then I have to call my kids up and share. Knife. And my pie scooper. I'm missing my pie scooper. I thought I had it over here, but apparently it's not here. I swear it was just right here. I can never find anything. I have 5. I see 3 over there on that back wall, but I swore I had one right here. Oh well, I give up. This little one will work. All right. Let's see if we can get the side camera back on so that you can see this. I'm going to try to get her better angle. Oh. So we can get a nice side shot. Wish me luck. Oh. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Look how pretty it looks. Okay. My stool out of the way. All right, now usually I would let this rest for about 10 minutes to kind of let it cool and thicken and settle a little bit, but nobody's got time for that. So fingers crossed. Here's that moment where, you ask me if this ever fails. We're about to find out. There we go. All right. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if you can. I'm going to point my microphone down for just a second. See if, oh, hot. I touched it. Can you hear that crust? So lovely. Okay. Ooh. Nummy. And I might be strange, but I like to wipe down my knife between every cut, so. There we go. Okay. Man, I really wish I had my other. Okay. Is anybody else like me and the first slice of pie is always a hot mess? Oh, like they need pie things that are flexible. Has anybody seen anything like that that's like flexible but still strong? I don't know. I hate getting out this first slice. Always the worst. Here we go. All right, I'm going to use my little cake spatula that is flexible to try to get like underneath this without totally destroying it. Whoop. And then try to get this big pie one underneath. There we go. Okay. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look how good that looks and all that steam. Of course, I lost. Check this out. This chop shot. I lost like a bunch of the filling. I lost a little bit of that bottom crust. There we go. Add this over here. Okay. Whew, hot. My hot pad holders. Move that out of the way a little bit. Okay. So you can see this. Oh, so delicious. So good. All right. So yeah, there you go. Beautiful crust with a really nice sound, top and bottom crust, guts spilling out, all goopy and delicious and everything. So, are there any questions before I take my bite and go eat my dinner and turn all you guys off? Reads, yummy. Take the first camera off and then show the second. Oh, take the first cut out and show the second piece. Yes, reads. Barbara looks perfect. Thank you so much for all you share. Love your recipes. Oh, thank you so much. And please don't stop doing these. So my plan is to do one edited a week and one live a week. So don't forget to leave me suggestions so that I know what you guys want to make next. Next week I can make eggnog again. We made an attempt a couple weeks ago and then everything went to pot with the live streaming. It totally turned off. So we can make eggnog again, or we can do some other Christmas cookies. Is our favorite Christmas recipe that you'd really like to see me make? Let me know. I'd love to do that. How do I keep the frozen peas from turning gritty after cooking? I add the frozen peas right at the very end so that they're still frozen when I add them to the mixture, and then when they go into the oven they get cooked, but they're never getting like stirred, so they never get like mushy and nasty. Hope that helps. Christina, amazing. Thank you so much. Aubrey, you already answered your question. How much do I love my children? NL, I don't know that a mother could ever answer that. I love my children more than, okay, now I'm going to get all cry. Thanks a lot. I love my children more than anything. Marikai, yum. Yes, delicious. Love of sunflowers. It looks perfect. Thank you. Eggnog, yes. Who doesn't love eggnog? It's amazing, right? The crust looks so flaky and yummy. Thank you, Amanda. Annabelle, you love eggnog. Good to know. Patty, thank you. Enjoyed watching. Awesome. Eggnog flavored cake shaped like a mug of eggnog. America, that is a great suggestion. Can I do a Hanukkah recipe? I can try one. I don't actually know any Hanukkah recipes. If you have a suggestion for something I can look up and research, I would love to hear it. Christian, awesome. Thank you. All right. Hopefully I didn't miss too many questions. I know when I'm like talking, I kind of get distracted. So hopefully I didn't miss anything that you guys asked. I'm looking to see if I did. Hello, Manny. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Yes, the first slice. Amanda, I'm glad I'm not the only one who totally ruins that first slice of the pan. NL, you're hungry right now. Me too. How many times do I make cakes out of characters? Christian, as much as I can, as often as I can. I'm working single mom, so I work a bunch of side jobs, and so I don't have as much time as I used to for cake decorating. But I'm working on trying to get back into that. I really miss it. Love the hot pads. They're very loved. I know, right? It's time to invest in new hot pad holders. I know. You definitely, yeah, I do. You love your hair. Oh, thank you so much. Which dye do I use? I have a hair gal who's one of the top hair colorists in the nation. She luckily lives in Utah, so I get to see her. And so she'd be the one to check out, Christina Kreitel. We use a different color every 6 to 8 weeks, so we're always trying different brands. So, and different brands work different on different hairs. My hair's naturally black, so I have to bleach it a lot first. So I don't really know the brand of color because it's always changing. I don't think we've ever repeated the same brand or color combination. You're the best at teaching, explaining. Thank you so much, Amanda and Bella. Okay. All right, I think I answered all the questions. Fingers crossed. I don't want to leave any of you guys hanging. So once this ends, of course, you can go back into the comments and ask a question. I will be sure to get on and answer it. I know it's my favorite part, and I've let it cool a little bit. See how I did that? I talked to you guys so it could cool, so I didn't burn my mouth. See, I'm always thinking. Really smart like that. All right. let's get you guys a nice side shot of a bite, right? All right, so I'm gonna get a little bit of this top crust. I wanna make sure I get some potato, top crust, and some turkey, a little bit of mushroom and onions and peas. Ugh, I can never get enough. There we go. All right, first bite. My favorite. So good. See, and now I'm gonna eat this entire slice and then I'm gonna call my kids up. Because dinner time with 5 kids is a little crazy. So I either eat before they do or I eat after they do. Is that just like a lot of kids mom trick or what? Alright. Oh, so good. Perfectly cool too. That was too big of a bite though. Very elegant of me. Alright. You're just gonna start eating dinner. It's 8:30 where you live. You know what? Bubble Boo, I ate dinner last night at 8:30 too, so you're not the only one. It's 6:30 for me right now, and this is like as close to our normal dinner time as I've gotten in a couple weeks, so yay me! But my kids are all supposed to be leaving like in 5 minutes for a youth activity with our church, and they haven't eaten yet, so I better get off and take care of that with them. You're eating chips for dinner. You wish you had this instead. Jelly donuts. I actually can do that one. All right. You were curious if I've made a special Christmas dessert that I make every year. It's a good question. Probably my Liege waffles. I make those for breakfast every year for Christmas, or homemade cinnamon rolls. I make those for breakfast. I don't really have a Christmas dessert because I make like 10. No, I'm just one. It's 8:30 where you are, Reeds. This is nice. Good night, Barbara. All right. Good night, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying your holidays. Let me know in the comments if you have other suggestions you'd like to see live or edited. If it's a super long recipe, I'll make it edited. If it's a shorter recipe like this, I'll do it live. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are all eating delicious foods just as well as I am. And don't forget to hit the little notification bell if you're on YouTube so you don't miss notifications. And on Facebook, don't forget to follow my page, and I will put up next week's notification as soon as I can, and I'll get the recipe on the blog tonight for this pot pie. So happy holidays. Thanks for watching. And now I'm going to take the next 10 minutes turning everything off. So have a nice night. And